this, is that the key is not up or down, the key is obedience. The key is your willingness to go wherever, to the left, to the right. If he says dip or if he says slide, I'm going to do it. Whatever he leads me to do, because my steps, I'm choosing to allow them to be ordered by the Lord, to delight in following his way. And so when he said go down, I'm not just going to sit there and wallow in self-pity and just complain about it, because listen, if you can't let the downward turns get to your heart, but you also can't let the uphill turns get to your head. I'm going to keep stepping. It's this choice to, again, choose your response before you get in the dip. I'm going to keep praising. I'm going to keep serving. I'm going to stay faithful. So God said, I've seen you go low. I've seen how you've done the dip. So now it's time to go up. And so 1 Samuel 30, David asked, where should we go? I've gone down. I've gone, it's been years of doing the dip. God, where do you want to take me? And he says, I want you to go to Hebron. Now, again, these names have meaning. Hebron, interesting enough, get this. Hebron literally means to unite or tie together. To unite or tie together. Now, you got to understand there's some topographical realities at play here. Is in Judah, and in turn Hebron, was really an upward journey, upward climb to Ziklag. And God said, again, go up to Judah. Go to Hebron. And listen, I share this with you because I don't know who I'm prophesying to today, but maybe it hasn't made sense for you. You kept stepping and it didn't make sense. You kept praising, it didn't make sense. You kept worshiping, but it didn't make sense. You kept stepping and it didn't make sense. Can I tie it all together for you? As it related to certainly David's story, and I think in so many of our stories as well. See, there were some details kind of glossed over in 1 Samuel 30. Not only did David recover everything the enemy had stolen, but much of what he gained, he actually sent on ahead to the leaders of Judah. Because much like today, just like there's politics today, there was a lot of politics back then. And David knew there would come a time where he was going to have to call on some help from the leaders of Judah. And so rather than just kind of store and hold on to everything he got, he instead, everything he actually gained from the dip, what he won in that battle, he actually sent ahead. He actually sent on to them. So we see him, everything he gained from the dip, the experiences he gained, the faith he gained, the wealth he gained, we see him passing it on to these people, these men of Judah, these leaders of Judah up in Hebron. And he shared it with others, and he used it to bless others. And again, check this out. So we see this. It goes on in 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 4. It says, Then the men of Judah came to Hebron, and there they anointed David king over the tribe of Judah. They came to Hebron. The men of Judah came. Wait. Man. Yeah, if you're David, like something sounds really familiar about this. Like Hebron. Why does that name sound so familiar? Because, wait a second, now I remember. I remember taking some of the stuff I got from the worst moments of my life, the darkest days of my life. Because listen, I came to tell you that listen, for some of you, the very thing you got when you were low, and maybe are low today, was the very thing you would need when God was going to bring you high. That's what we see in David's life. You couldn't see it until you got there. It wasn't until I got into Hebron that the same people, God worked through me to use me, to bless them, to minister to them, to encourage them. Here we see God kind of bringing them back into their life. In fact, like how the psalmist says, whoever sows in tears will reap in joy. That's exactly what David did. As here's David, no doubt remembering when he came across that hill, looked at that place where once when he looked at it, all he saw was pain. All he saw was just being overwhelmed with grief and loss. The memories of, man, I can't wait to see my wife. I can't wait to see my kids, only to show up and all he sees is rubble. The worst moment of my life. The battle I didn't pick. The battle I wish I had never fight. Get this, a battle that, if I'm honest, was my fault. Listen, you haven't really seen the providential power of God until you can look back at your life. And even in the light of your messes you made for yourself, are able to see that he works all things together for the good of them who are called according to his purpose. Again, notice all things. Not just the stuff you did right, but he'll even work your mistakes together. He'll work your worst days together. He'll work your failures together. And look, I'm not saying it was good. But I'm saying when he ties it all together and you get to Hebron, it's an amazing thing. And again, maybe you're at that place like, man, that sounds great. Yeah, that might be the promise, but I feel like I'm a long way from that. I feel like my steps right now, they don't seem to make a whole lot of sense. I'm going to wrap up with this. And there's one of the popular things out there nowadays is to kind of, when you're running or when you're walking, is to oftentimes have these Fitbit watches, and they can actually kind of track your GPS coordinates. And so a lot of people have actually created artwork out of this. And it was all kind of started a few years ago by a guy in San Francisco who was trying to kind of find a creative way to express his heart for the woman of his dreams. And this woman named Emily. And so he ran. Yeah, he ran, and it charted. And again, I love that. Of course, in the moment, it probably just seemed like steps and sweat. It's making me tired just actually looking at this map, right? But here's why I share this. See, most of the time we try to make sense of our steps at our current level of elevation. And listen, elevation will always dictate perspective. Things look differently when you're low, but some of you, my encouragement tonight is where we're going. In fact, I'm going to invite the worship team up, and as we move back into this time of worship, is that you would get a God's eye view of your steps. Because when you do, I think you can realize that every step makes sense. And this is not a superficial way. It's not about dismissing or minimizing your pain or making light of your struggle. But can I tell you, and some of you need to hear this, God's been drawing something out of your steps from the very day you were born. God's been weaving together a demonstration that when you can see it from His view, He's all tying it together, and every step makes sense. That I had to go down when I wanted to go up. Sometimes I had to go left when I wanted to stay straight. But now I can see that it all makes sense. And again, maybe you're at that place like, I'm still in the dip. I'm having a really hard time seeing any sense, any value, any purpose in any of this. And again, that's you. If that's you, I specifically want to pray for you. In fact, with every head bowed, every eye closed, when